All right, what up to the Elevate family? Sitting here and been, no pun intended, but been grappling with a lot of the same issues that everybody has of, all of a sudden everything's changed. Our daily routine has changed. We're not getting in the training we were. And what do we do about that? And how do we mentally deal with it? And how do we process? And especially, how do I process it as somebody coaching athletes? What advice would I give them? And what advice would I give individuals maybe who don't have big athletic goals but just want to keep progressing in their hobby, right? Like, how do you do it? And so there's been a ton of different voices that are out there at times like these, and there's kind of that like always pushing forward voice, right? So like Jocko's gonna wake up at early in the morning and do his push-ups regardless, and Gary Vee is gonna tell you that you're lazy no matter what. And then there's the other side of things that is kind of accepting of what is, kind of that more like Tara Brach, if you've ever heard her do some guided meditation and just kind of accepting what is in the moment, and being a little bit gentle with yourself, you know what I mean, and letting yourself realize that, okay, if everything's shut down and all my plans, got pushed away to the side for the time being, maybe it's okay to take a little bit of a break and rest and recharge. And then kind of the middle ground, and two of my favorite thinkers, Nassim Taleb always says that, boredom and procrastination are two of the best indicators of what you should be doing. Like, if you're truly passionate about something, it should be easy to do. The passion should come out. You should be able to do the work. You know what I mean? And if it's not easy, then maybe you need to find something that feels that way, right? So if working out is not easy, then do something else. And Josh Waitzkin would say that for every high performer, everybody who's able to turn on to the fullest degree, you have to have the ability to turn off. And right now, we're kind of getting a signal worldwide to turn off and chill out. But this is one of those dichotomies, right? These are the areas that I'm obsessed with. I love these little either or situations where you can never truly have a final answer. So, first of all, no one has anything booked right now, right? No one has any tournaments coming up. Nobody has anything. And mentally, if you treat a period of time like this, like you always have to be at a heightened state of readiness, and the day the gym opens, you'll also be fighting that same weekend, you're gonna burn yourself out in a negative way. But if you take a step back and take a deep breath and think about where you want to go and what you want to accomplish and what things you can do during this time that can be long-term gains, I think that can be really helpful. I think understanding the mental side of the sport is so important, and I think there's so many incredible resources out there. Obviously there's been a ton of free instructionals put out recently, and that's great. I just don't like instructionals. You know what I mean? I don't get a lot out of it. The pacing is a little too slow for me, and mentally I check out after about 5 minutes regardless. So I've had to figure out some other stuff. But I've been doing a lot of deep study on individual fighters and watching some more of their fights, which has been good for me. But either way, so trying to study and learn the game more, trying to allow concepts to come back into my brain. I think the concept of doing evergreen work, so whether that's creatively or whatever, but writing or creating concepts or formalizing plans in a way that is good, not just in the current moment, but in the future, is a great thing to do. Honestly, kind of checking in with myself, like I just didn't have anything in my brain that was ready to come out right now, right? Like, so instead I'm just investing the time in kind of more input, because I don't really have anything right now that's like dying to come out. But for people who've been putting off a project, this is a great time to do it. I think it's going to be an interesting time, and I think the biggest thing that plagues athletes is this mindset of not doing enough and falling behind. And something that drove me crazy early in my career. And I remember when I really, really got into jiu-jitsu, and I was training like 10 times, 11 times a week, just jiu-jitsu classes on top of Muay Thai and working out. So I was doing like 10 classes a week. And I went away for the summer to officer candidate school for the Marine Corps, and it was a 6-week program. So 6 weeks, zero grappling whatsoever. Didn't step on a mat, no gi, nothing, right? No one talked to me about grappling, didn't watch a single grappling video. I had no grappling in my life for 6 weeks. And then I came back to the gym. And obviously I left grappling, so like the day after I got back, I went to train, and I was just like, oh, everyone's gonna have gotten so much better than me. And it was the opposite. Like, my brain was so mentally recharged and refreshed that I was on fire for a couple days. You know what I mean? It took a while for me to like slow down that giant leap of progress that I had just from taking that break. And I think people who are constantly pushing, they don't ever get that chance to like step back and get that refresh moment. And then, you know, another big one to me was when I was in Las Vegas, kind of the same thing. I was a professional athlete, and that was my only thing I was doing at the time. So once again, I was training all the time, training with the best guys in the world, and it was in Las Vegas. So I mean, everyone was there. We had all the good training partners. Everybody was coming in from town all the time. And so I went back to North Carolina, and, you know, my daughter was born right around that time. And after my daughter was born, I think it was about, 8 months. I trained like 3 times in 8 months right after my daughter was born. And then I went to Las Vegas, and when I got there, I figured, you know, everyone, same thing. Like, I'd been gone a year. I was like, man, all these guys are beasts. All they do is train. And I've been, you know, at home figuring out family life and doing all these other things. I'm like, I'm going to get crushed. Like, I'm just not going to be able to hang. And jiu-jitsu was still jiu-jitsu. Grappling was still grappling, and I was still doing well. And I was like, oh, okay. Practicing is great, but practice alone, the time you put in isn't enough. You have to be mentally engaged. And so when I came back, I was super excited to train. I was a very dangerous person, even if I wasn't in shape, even if I didn't have my timing quite right, but if I was mentally excited to be on the mats. So I'd say build back up that excitement. And, you know, when you're constantly in the grind, you don't notice that little slip of passion. You don't notice that little slip. But anytime you hear athletes come back from an injury or come back from a big time off, what do they say? They say, I've refound the passion. I've got that spark again. And they never noticed that the spark was gone, but all of a sudden it's back, right? All of a sudden they refind it some way, somehow. And I think that's the key, is like, cutting weight is rough. And so when I cut weight back to back, I get worse and worse at it. I get more like, well, I made weight last time, so maybe I can cheat a little bit this time. It's just psychological tricks your brain plays. But when I haven't done it for a while, my brain's like, no, we are locked in. Same thing about training schedules, same thing about time on the mat, same thing about like focus when you're receiving instruction. You know what I mean? If you only got to learn one move per month, so you got 5 minutes of instruction and you only had that, how much would you focus on that move? How much would you pay attention to the details? How much would you write down what you learned? Go back and study the notes, drill it over and over and over. But because luckily we live in a world of like abundant instruction and abundant time to train, we don't treat everything like it's as vital as it could be. So now we have an opportunity to like, all right, the time on the mats has been taken away from many of us. So what are we going to do with that time? What are we going to do with the rest of it? And still balancing that dichotomy of like, maybe it's okay to just chill or like take a break. Like all this stuff, no one has the answers. But I know that this is a weird situation which just put us all in this same experiment together. So big love to everybody in the Elevate fam. Hope you're staying safe. Hope everybody around the world is staying safe. And hope you are getting something positive out of this time. All right, love y'all. Later.